Di Maria returns to haunt Manchester United. There's a new star emerging in Rome. Gareth Bale could be on his way out of Real Madrid. And of course, we have this week's great debate. That and more coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. I feel like the wacky flailing inflatable arm flailing tube man. You ever seen them? You know, things in America that blow up with like outside the store and they're like, ooh. First up to last night's Champions League action, where despite not having Edinson Cavani or Neymar in the squad, PSG was still too classy for Manchester United. Angel Di Maria, the former Manchester United player, had a particularly good night after it looked like it wouldn't be going so well. In the first half, he smashed into the barricades after a push from Ashley Young and looked like he may go off injured. However, in the second half, he really turned on the style, providing both assists for Manchester United's 2-0 demise. As for how the actual game went, well, I think it was all Manchester United's downfall. In the last few weeks they've been doing well, but this has come as a bit of a reality check to both them and to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in charge. PSG were just better on the night. They had far better quality, were better in the final third and carved out way more chances. Manchester United were a bit reckless, and of course we saw that in evidence with Paul Pogba, who got sent off late into the game. As for PSG, I felt like in the second half it's where they really made their mark by pressing higher. The fact that Martial and Lingard both went off injured obviously didn't help Manchester United, but what it did, it meant that they didn't have any pace in attack. With Juan Mata and Alexis Sanchez coming on, PSG knew they wouldn't be caught quickly on the counter, so they could afford to press up higher. They did so, and especially at right back, they were fantastic, with Di Maria playing the star role. As for what's going to happen in the return leg, well, Manchester United have to go to Paris and win in a stadium where they've won every single league game this season. That's Paris Saint-Germain, not Manchester United. PSG will be with Cavani by the time that game comes around. However, it looks like Neymar may miss out. As for Manchester United, like I mentioned before, they'll be without Paul Pogba, so the chances are really looking slim at best. Now on to the other game in the Champions League from last night, and it's Roma against Porto, and Roma came out 2-1 victors thanks to Nicolas Zaniolo. Now if you haven't heard of him, you better remember the name, because the guy is going to be a huge talent. He was part of the deal which saw Radja Nainggolan move from Roma to Inter Milan in the summer, and it said that he joined for around £3.5 million. He is such a good talent that Italy actually called him up to the national squad before he played a Serie A game, and it's clear they obviously know what they're talking about. In 22 appearances this season, Zaniolo's managed to bag 5 goals. That's 2 more than Nainggolan scored in the other direction with Inter Milan. He looks like a real talent in the centre of the park who just has everything. He's big, he's athletic, he's physical, and he's got all the ability on both feet to really dictate a game and, as we've seen, pop up with a goal or 2. In scoring both goals last night, he became not only the youngest Italian to score 2 goals in a Champions League knockout game, but also the second youngest Italian to even score in the Champions League, just a bit older than Mario Balotelli. Now, he has gone a little unnoticed this season in the league due to Roma's poor performances, and they're nowhere near the top like they feel they should be after such a good performance last year. However, if Zaniolo keeps putting in these fantastic performances in the Champions League with the whole of Europe watching, you can guarantee he'll be moving to the top of many transfer target lists of some of the biggest clubs. And talking of big transfer targets come the summer, and Gareth Bale could be on his way out of Real Madrid and to one of Europe's big teams. This is because apparently his attitude just doesn't fit in at Los Galacticos. According to reports in Spain, he's quite an introvert and doesn't really fit in with the ego of the team. Now, this is quite odd, as the same reports have said that he's often quite greedy and selfish, which isn't necessarily something that you'd associate with an introvert person. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo. He's been called greedy and selfish, he's an extrovert, but he knows what he's doing and he's one of the best. For Gareth Bale, these two opposing attributes don't quite seem to fit him. However, he obviously isn't fitting in well enough with the Real Madrid team. It's said that he hasn't made a massive attempt to learn Spanish, and he's been cruelly dubbed Mr. Glass because of his fragility and all of his injuries in the last few years. Now, if you look at his record at Real Madrid, he has won 4 European Cups, so he's pretty much a legendary player for them, and over the weekend he managed to bag his 100th goal in the derby against Atletico Madrid. However, rumours have always persisted that he'll be leaving, and it looks like in the summer, him and Real Madrid are finally ready to cut ties with each other. But where will he be moving? Well, of course, spending money on his wage and a transfer fee would rule out pretty much every single team in Europe, apart from a few. Manchester United are in the mix, and they've been linked with him for years. Spurs could be in the mix, Gareth Bale's former club. However, they haven't really spent any money in almost a year, and by the summer it'll be a year and a half. And as for Chelsea, if they're going to let Eden Hazard go, they may use Gareth Bale in some sort of swap deal. But aside from that, Bayern Munich, PSG and Juventus won't necessarily go and spend, as I mentioned before, a huge fee on an injury-prone player who's going to be 30 in the summer, and then another huge fee on his wages. It just doesn't look likely to happen unless Bale takes a pay cut. And finally, we come to this week's great debate, where we're not actually focusing on the Champions League, but on the Premier League. For those of you who don't know, every Wednesday we have our great debate question set from our guys in the Onefootball newsroom, and we want to hear your answers in the comment section below. Of course, you can already check out the app to find out the answer to this week's great debate, but the question is, who will win the Premier League, Manchester City or Liverpool? Now, I know that seems like quite an easy answer for you guys, so I want to know your explanation down below as well. And do you think it will go to the very last game of the season? Of course, you can let me know everything you think in today's daily news as well down below, whether or not Gareth Bale will leave, whether or not Nicola Zaniolo will go on to be a fantastic player, and can Manchester United really turn it around in the second leg against PSG? Of course, you can also smash the like button whilst you're down there and click here or here to check out all of the other videos that we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.